The message from Earth arrived at the Galactic Council without noise or drama. It did not come with flashing lights or strong signals. It was simple, clear, and calm. The council chamber was filled with leaders from hundreds of worlds, each one powerful in its own way. When the human message appeared on the main screen, many of them did not even look at it at first. Humans were not important to them. Earth was young, divided, and weak compared to the great empires of the galaxy. Still, the message played for everyone to see. It was short. It spoke in a steady tone. It did not beg. It did not threaten. It ended with one sentence that echoed through the chamber: "Do not attack us again." For a moment, there was silence. Then the laughter began. The council members laughed openly. Some smiled with disrespect. Others shook their heads in amusement. A few even replayed the message just to hear it again. To them, Earth was nothing more than a small world that had barely left its home system. Humans fought among themselves for centuries. Their history was full of wars, mistakes, and suffering. The galaxy knew this. The galaxy watched this. Many alien leaders believed humans survived only because stronger races ignored them. A warning from such a species felt like a joke. One council member stood and spoke loudly, calling the message cute. Another said humans should learn their place. The idea that Earth could give a warning to the galaxy felt insulting. The leader of the attacking empire watched the scene with cold interest. His people had already attacked a human colony once before. It was not a full invasion, just a test. Humans had lost ships, stations, and lives. After that attack, Earth had gone silent. No threats. No speeches. No demands. Then this message arrived. To the Empire, it felt like fear hiding behind brave words. The leader decided the answer was simple. If humans wanted to warn the galaxy would answer with force. He ordered his commanders to prepare a second attack, larger and stronger than the first. He wanted to show the galaxy that warnings from weak worlds meant nothing. Across human space, Earth remained quiet. There were no loud meetings broadcast to the stars. No angry messages sent back. Human cities continued their normal routines. People worked, slept, and lived as they always had. To outsiders, it looked like denial or surrender. Some alien observers believed humans had already accepted their end. Others thought Earth's leaders were divided and unable to act. But deep beneath the surface of Earth and its colonies, something else was happening. Old systems were waking up. Locked networks were opening. Commands that had not been used for generations were being prepared again. Humanity was not frozen. Humanity was focused. On the Galactic Council, the laughter slowly faded as reports began to arrive. The attacking empire's fleets were moving. Thousands of ships gathered near the edge of human space. This time, there would be no limits. Entire colonies would burn. The Council allowed it. Some members even approved. They believed this would be a lesson for all young races. Do not speak out of turn. Do not warn those stronger than you. Earth had crossed a line by daring to speak as an equal. Now it would pay the price. As the fleets moved closer, messages poured into Earth from traders, allies, and observers. Some warned them to surrender. Some begged them to apologize. Some offered escape for a price. Earth answered none of them. There was no speech to calm the population. No promise of victory. Only silence. This silence confused many. Fear usually spoke loudly. Panic sent signals everywhere. But Earth was quiet in a way that felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. In the final hours before the attack, the Galactic Council gathered again to watch. Large screens showed the alien fleets entering human-controlled space. The Council expected to see chaos, human ships rushing to defend, desperate resistance. Instead, they saw empty space. No human fleets appeared. No weapons fired. The attacking commanders laughed and pushed forward, confident and careless. They spoke of how history would remember this moment as the end of human pride. Far away on Earth, a small group of human leaders stood in a silent room. No one spoke loudly. No one celebrated. They watched the same screens the galaxy watched. One of them repeated the words of the warning again, not as a threat, but as a memory. Do not attack us again. It had not been sent in anger. It had been sent in restraint. Humans knew something the galaxy did not. They knew their own past. They knew what happened when they were pushed too far. They knew what they became when survival was the only choice left. As the first alien ships crossed the final boundary, something changed. Sensors across the galaxy picked up strange signals. Old energy patterns appeared where nothing should exist. The attacking fleet slowed, confused by readings they did not understand. The laughter in the council chamber died completely. No one spoke now. Every eye was fixed on the screens. Earth was still silent. No messages. No warnings. Only action waiting to happen. And in that quiet moment, the galaxy began to understand that the warning had never been a bluff. It had been the last chance. The alien fleet moved deeper into human space with full confidence. Thousands of ships advanced in perfect formation, their weapons powered and ready. The commanders felt no fear. They had faced stronger enemies before and won. Humans, to them, were only noisy and emotional creatures who talked more than they acted. The strange signals detected earlier were ignored. Every advanced fleet met unknown readings in enemy space. It meant nothing. The order was given to continue the attack without delay. The goal was clear. Destroy another human colony, then move closer to Earth itself. The galaxy was watching, and the Empire wanted a clear victory. The first human colony in their path was small and distant from Earth. It had mining stations, living domes, and defense platforms built only to stop pirates. The alien fleet did not slow down. They fired without warning. Bright energy tore through space, and human structures vanished in seconds. Stations broke apart. Ships burned. The colony fell quickly, just like before. To the attackers, it proved one thing. Humans were still weak. The warning had been empty words. Laughter returned to the fleet's command channels. Reports were sent to the Galactic Council showing the destruction. Many council members nodded in approval. This was exactly what they expected. But something was different this time. After the colony was destroyed, the alien fleet waited for the human response. Usually, even weak races reacted with anger or panic. They sent messages. They launched desperate attacks. They begged for peace. Humans did none of that. No distress signal spread across space. No human fleet rushed in. Even the broken remains of the colony sent nothing. It was as if the loss had been accepted without emotion. Some alien officers felt uneasy, but their commanders dismissed it. Humans were probably afraid. Fear often looked like silence. As the fleet moved on, strange things began to happen. Long-range scanners started to fail. Navigation systems showed errors. Time readings felt slightly off, though no one could explain why. Engineers blamed human interference or simple malfunction. The fleet continued forward, growing more careless with every moment. They joked about how the galaxy would soon learn not to listen to human warnings. Some even suggested attacking Earth directly without waiting for council approval. The idea of resistance no longer felt real to them. On the Galactic Council, the mood was calm but curious. Screens showed the fleet's progress in real time. The destruction of the second colony caused no shock. It was expected. What caught the Council's attention was Earth's silence. Some older members remembered other wars, other races. Silence before defeat was common, but this silence felt controlled. Still, no one spoke against the attack. Pride and power ruled the room. If humans were hiding something, it would reveal itself soon. Back in human space, hidden far from the eyes of the galaxy, systems continued to wake. Ancient machines powered up one by one. These were not weapons of conquest. They were not built to rule others. They were built after humanity's darkest age, when humans almost destroyed themselves. These systems were designed with one purpose: end threats completely, so they would never return. Only a few humans even knew they existed. They had not been used in any known war. Their activation did not send signals across space. It did not create explosions. It was quiet, precise, and invisible. The alien fleet crossed another boundary, one marked only on human maps. As they passed through it, the first ship vanished. There was no blast, no warning, One moment it existed, the next it was gone. The fleet halted in confusion. Commanders demanded answers. Sensors showed nothing. No debris. No energy trace. It was as if the ship had never been there. Before anyone could react, a second ship vanished. Then a third. Panic began to spread through the fleet. Orders were shouted. Weapons were charged. Shields were raised. But there was still nothing to fight. The Galactic Council fell into chaos as reports flooded in. Ships disappearing without combat broke every known rule of war. This was not human technology as the galaxy understood it. Some council members demanded the attack stop. Others accused the Empire of lying. Then the live feed showed another ship vanish. The room went silent. For the first time, fear appeared on faces that had never known it. Earth was still silent. No message followed. No explanation was given. Inside the alien fleet, discipline collapsed. Some ships tried to retreat. Others fired blindly into empty space. It did not matter. One by one, ships disappeared. The commanders realized too late that this was not a battle. It was a judgment. The human warning returned to their minds, no longer sounding weak or small. Do not attack us again. It had not promised revenge. It had promised consequence. Far away, human leaders watched without emotion. They did not cheer. They did not smile. This was not victory to them. It was necessity. They had warned the galaxy because they did not want this outcome. Humanity had learned, through centuries of pain, that mercy only worked once. When mercy was mocked, survival demanded something colder. As more ships vanished and the alien fleet broke apart, one truth became clear across the galaxy. The second attack had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. And whatever humanity had unleashed, it was only beginning. The galaxy struggled to understand what was happening. Ships were vanishing without explosions, without sound, without warning. No weapon signature could be traced. No defense system could stop it. Every known law of warfare failed to explain the event. The alien empire sent emergency messages to the Galactic Council, demanding permission to retreat and regroup. Fear replaced pride in their voices. The same commanders who had laughed at Earth's warning now spoke carefully, choosing every word. But Earth did not respond. There was no message, no demand, no signal of victory. Humanity remained silent, and that silence felt heavier than any threat. Inside the damaged alien fleet, confusion ruled. Commanders ordered full scans of space itself. Engineers pushed their systems beyond safe limits, searching for an enemy they could see. The results were always the same. Nothing. Empty space. Yet ships continued to disappear. Crews began to panic. Some abandoned their posts. Others prayed to ancient gods. Discipline broke apart as fear spread faster than orders. The fleet tried to form defensive patterns, but the formations meant nothing against an enemy that did not appear. Every moment they stayed increased the number of ships lost. Deep within human-controlled space, far from public networks, a hidden human installation came fully online. It had no name known to the galaxy. Even among humans, it was referred to only as a system, not a weapon. It had been designed after humanity nearly destroyed itself in endless wars. At that time, humans realized something painful. If a threat could return, then the threat was never truly ended. This system was built to solve that problem. It did not attack ships directly. It removed them from existence by folding space in a way no other species had ever attempted. The system was banned by human law, locked away, and meant to be used only if humanity faced extinction. That moment had arrived. The activation of the system did not shake planets or light up stars. It changed something small but important in the fabric of space. To humans, it felt like flipping a final switch. To the alien fleet, it felt like reality itself turning against them. Ships vanished in patterns that made no sense. The system targeted command vessels first, not out of cruelty, but efficiency. Without leadership, chaos would spread faster. Humans understood war not as a test of strength, but as a problem to be ended as quickly as possible. On the Galactic Council, panic spread. Some members demanded that Earth explain itself. Others called for immediate peace talks. A few older species remained silent, their expressions dark with understanding. They had seen something like this before in ancient history. Not human technology, but human behavior. A species that had suffered deeply often learned how to end suffering with terrifying finality. The Council tried to send emergency channels to Earth. None were answered. Earth was not negotiating. Earth was finishing what had already begun. Within the alien fleet, retreat orders finally came, but they were too late. Engines failed to engage properly. Jump points collapsed before ships could reach them. Every escape attempt ended the same way, with a ship disappearing mid-maneuver. The realization spread among the surviving crews that they were not being hunted. They were being erased. This was not anger. This was control. Humanity was not reacting emotionally. It was executing a decision made long before the first ship vanished. As the fleet broke apart, fragments of information reached the wider galaxy. Observers recorded the impossible and sent warnings to their homeworlds. Words like human weapon and unknown system spread rapidly. Fear replaced curiosity. Races that had once ignored Earth began to rethink their assumptions. Humans had always seemed divided, violent, and unstable. Now the galaxy saw the truth beneath that chaos. Humans learned from their pain. They remembered every mistake. And when they decided to act, they did so with frightening unity. On Earth, life continued quietly. There were no celebrations in the streets. No victory speeches. The human population was not even fully informed of what was happening. Only a small group carried the burden of the decision. They understood the cost, not in enemy lives, but in what it meant to use the system at all. Once activated, it changed humanity forever. The galaxy would never forget what humans were capable of. The leaders accepted that weight without pride. Survival had demanded it. As the last organized elements of the alien fleet vanished, the Galactic Council finally grasped the meaning of the warning. It had not been sent to show strength. It had been sent to prevent this moment. Humanity had hoped the galaxy would listen. It had hoped mercy would be enough. But when mercy was mocked, humans chose certainty over hope. Across the stars, one truth spread faster than any signal. Humanity did not strike back for revenge. Humanity struck back to make sure the attack could never happen again. And in the dark silence that followed, the galaxy waited, unsure of what humanity would do next, knowing only that the rules had changed forever. The moment the last command ship vanished, the alien fleet stopped existing as a fighting force. What remained were scattered vessels drifting without orders, without direction, and without hope. Across human space, silence ruled again. No human ships chased the survivors. No final message followed. To the galaxy, it was more frightening than celebration. Victors usually spoke. They warned. They demanded surrender. Humanity did none of that. It was as if the battle had never required an audience. Inside the few remaining alien ships, panic turned into disbelief. Crews searched their systems again and again, hoping to find a mistake, a glitch, anything that could explain what they had witnessed. Ships that had been beside them for decades were simply gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Erased. Officers who had once laughed at Earth's warning now whispered it with fear. They finally understood that humans had not acted in anger. They had acted with planning. The warning had been real. The galaxy had chosen to ignore it. On the Galactic Council, the atmosphere collapsed into chaos. Members spoke over one another. Accusations filled the chamber. Some blamed the attacking empire for provoking Earth. Others blamed the Council itself for allowing the second strike. A few demanded immediate sanctions against humanity, though no one could explain how such a thing would be enforced. Screens replayed the fleet's destruction again and again, each time raising more questions. How could humans do this? How long had they been capable of it? And most importantly, why had they chosen now? As arguments continued, a single truth became clear. The galaxy had misunderstood humanity from the beginning. Humans were not strong because of advanced technology alone. They were strong because they remembered failure. Every war in their history had taught them what not to do. Where other races saw war as a test of honor or dominance, humans saw it as a problem that needed a final solution. The system they had used was proof of that mindset. It was not designed to win battles. It was designed to end threats permanently. Messages poured in from across the galaxy. Smaller races begged Earth for reassurance. Trade worlds closed their borders in fear. Ancient empires that had ruled for thousands of years began reviewing their own defenses, realizing how little they would matter. Humanity had shifted the balance of power without declaring itself ruler. Earth did not claim territory. It did not demand tribute. It did not even speak. That absence of ambition made the galaxy even more uneasy. A power that wanted nothing could not be controlled. The surviving alien ships finally escaped human space. They fled toward their homeworlds in broken formations, afraid to stop, afraid to communicate, afraid even to think too loudly. Every system failure felt like the beginning of the end. Every strange reading caused panic. They carried with them not just defeat, but knowledge. Knowledge that humanity possessed something unstoppable, something beyond normal warfare. That knowledge would spread faster than any human message ever could. On Earth, the leaders met again in the same quiet room. The system had completed its task. It powered down as smoothly as it had activated. No alarms sounded. No celebration followed. The leaders reviewed reports carefully. Casualties. System strain. Long-term effects. Everything was measured and recorded. This was not vengeance. It was responsibility. They knew the galaxy would respond eventually, with fear, anger, or both. Humanity needed to be ready, not proud. For the first time since the warning had been sent, Earth transmitted a message. It was not directed at the attacking empire alone. It was broadcast to the entire galaxy. The message was calm and brief. Humanity did not boast. It did not explain the technology. It did not issue new threats. It simply stated that the attack had been answered, and that no further action would be taken unless humanity was threatened again. The message ended the same way the warning had ended, with words that now carried a different weight. "We warned you." The Galactic Council listened in complete silence. There was no laughter this time. No anger. Only understanding mixed with fear. The galaxy had crossed a line and paid the price. Humanity had not demanded fear or worship. It had demanded respect. And now, the galaxy understood what disrespect could cost. As the message ended and the chamber lights dimmed, a shared realization spread among every species present. The age of ignoring Earth was over. Humanity had revealed its true nature, not as conquerors, but as the final answer to any threat foolish enough to test them again. After the broadcast ended, the galaxy waited for something more. A demand. A punishment. A declaration of power. None came. Humanity returned to silence, and that silence confused the galaxy more than the destruction had. Many races expected Earth to chase the broken enemy, to finish them completely, to claim victory in a visible way. But no human ships crossed into foreign space. No borders were redrawn. The surviving alien empire was left alone to collapse under the weight of its own fear and shame. To many observers, it looked like mercy. To those who understood humans better, it was something else entirely. Within the defeated empire, chaos spread quickly. Worlds argued with each other. Military leaders were blamed and removed. Citizens demanded answers their leaders could not give. The knowledge that their fleet had been erased without a fight destroyed confidence in every defense they still had. Some planets tried to leave the empire. Others began secret talks with neighboring powers, hoping to hide behind alliances. The empire that once mocked Earth now feared even the idea of human attention. They did not ask for peace. They hoped to be forgotten. The Galactic Council struggled to regain control. Emergency meetings were held daily. New rules were proposed, then quietly removed. No one wanted to be the one to challenge humanity's actions. Some council members argued that Earth had broken galactic law. Others pointed out that the law meant nothing if it could not be enforced. Slowly, the tone of discussion changed. The council stopped talking about punishment and started talking about prevention. How could another disaster like this be avoided? The answer, though unspoken, was clear. Do not provoke humans. Across human space, daily life continued. Ships traded. Colonies rebuilt what had been lost. Memorials were raised quietly for those who died in the attacks. There were no public celebrations of victory. Many humans did not even know the full truth of what had happened. They only knew that the danger was gone, for now. Human leaders chose to keep it that way. Fear was not a tool they wanted to use on their own people. The system that had erased the fleet was locked away again, sealed behind layers of law and secrecy. Humans hoped it would never be used a second time. Other species watched Earth carefully. They sent observers, traders, and diplomats. Some arrived with gifts. Some arrived with apologies. Most arrived with caution. Humanity received them politely but kept its distance. Humans did not want the galaxy to see them as rulers or gods. They wanted to be seen as equals who would not be pushed. That balance was difficult. Too much silence created fear. Too much openness invited challenge. Humanity chose restraint, the same restraint that had shaped the warning. Months passed. The galaxy slowly adjusted to the new reality. Trade routes shifted away from human space, not out of anger, but out of nervous respect. Military exercises near Earth stopped completely. Even ancient empires avoided casual contact. The lesson had spread far and wide. Humanity did not seek war, but war with humanity had only one ending. This understanding changed politics, alliances, and long-term plans across the stars. Without firing a single visible shot, humans had reshaped the galaxy. Then something unexpected happened. A small, neutral race sent a formal request to Earth. They asked not for protection, but for guidance. Their message was honest. They admitted fear. They admitted weakness. They asked how humans survived in such a dangerous galaxy without becoming monsters. The question surprised Earth's leaders. They debated whether to respond at all. In the end, they chose a simple answer. Humanity replied that survival did not require cruelty, only memory. Remember what happens when warnings are ignored. Remember the cost of unchecked pride. The message spread quietly, changing how some races viewed humans. Far beyond known space, something else was watching. Ancient sensors detected the same strange changes in space that had erased the fleet. These readings matched old legends, stories of a force that did not conquer but corrected. For thousands of years, those stories had been dismissed as myths. Now, they felt uncomfortably real. Deep in the dark between stars, plans were reconsidered. Some powers chose to wait. Others chose to test. On Earth, a new report reached the leaders' table. It was brief but troubling. Long-range sensors had detected organized movement far outside normal galactic traffic. It was not the defeated empire. It was something older, quieter, and more patient. Humanity had ended one threat, but by doing so, it had revealed itself to others who had been hiding for a very long time. The leaders exchanged looks, not of fear, but of understanding. This was always the risk of survival. When you show strength, you invite attention. Humanity did not activate the system again. There was no need yet. Instead, they watched and prepared. The warning had been given. The line had been drawn. If the galaxy chose to respect it, peace could last. If not, humanity already knew what it would have to do. As the stars remained silent and the unknown movement continued in the dark, one truth settled heavily across human space. The galaxy had learned to fear humanity. Now humanity had to decide how to live with that fear, knowing that somewhere out there, someone was deciding whether Earth's warning would be tested again. The strange movement beyond known space continued to grow clearer with each passing week. Human sensors refined the data slowly and carefully, avoiding any signal that might reveal their attention. Whatever was moving out there was large, organized, and deliberate. It did not rush. It did not hide. It moved with the confidence of something that believed time was on its side. Human leaders studied the patterns in silence. This was not the broken empire trying to recover. This presence felt older, calmer, and far more dangerous. Humanity had been noticed by something that did not laugh at warnings. The Galactic Council noticed it too. Reports from long-range observatories confirmed unusual activity at the edge of mapped space. Ancient races grew uneasy. Some closed archives that had not been opened in centuries. Others began quiet evacuations of outer systems. When questions were raised in council meetings, answers were avoided. A few elders remembered fragments of old stories. They spoke of watchers, of judges, of powers that intervened only when balance was broken. For the first time since the human broadcast, the council felt truly powerless. Earth received messages again, but these were different. There was no blame in them, no anger. Instead, there was fear. Species that had once ignored humans now asked direct questions. What had humanity used? Could it be stopped? Would humans protect others if the unknown force attacked? Earth did not answer immediately. Humanity had never claimed the role of guardian. They had acted to survive, not to lead. Taking responsibility for the galaxy was a different matter entirely. Within hidden human facilities, research intensified. The system that erased the fleet was analyzed in detail. Its effects on spacetime were still not fully understood, even by humans. It had worked, but it had also sent ripples farther than expected. Humanity realized a hard truth. The system was not invisible. It left scars in reality itself, faint but detectable to those who knew how to look. By using it, humans had rung a bell that could not be unrung. The unknown force made its first move without crossing into human space. A distant star system went dark. There was no explosion, no debris. One moment it was there, full of life and energy. The next, it was silent. Observers across the galaxy froze in horror. This was not a message meant for Earth alone. It was a demonstration. A reminder that humanity was not the only power capable of ending systems without warning. The galaxy had entered a new phase of fear. The Galactic Council called an emergency session unlike any before. For the first time in its long history, the Council invited humanity to speak as an equal, not as a subject or a minor power. The request was formal, careful, and respectful. Earth accepted. When the human representative appeared on the Council's central display, there was no show of dominance. The message was simple. Humanity acknowledged the new threat. Humanity did not claim control over it. But humanity warned that if the force crossed into human space, it would be treated as an enemy. No more, no less. Some council members felt relief. Others felt dread. Humanity's calm response suggested preparation. It suggested experience. It suggested that humans had already accepted the possibility of facing something even worse than the empire they had erased. The question no one dared to ask was whether the human system would work again. And if it did, what it would cost. On Earth, debate grew sharper. Scientists warned that using the system again could cause unpredictable damage. Military leaders argued that hesitation invited disaster. Philosophers and historians reminded everyone why the system had been locked away in the first place. Humanity had survived its own near extinction by learning restraint. Becoming the galaxy's executioner could destroy everything they were trying to protect. The decision weighed heavily on every discussion. As the unknown force continued its slow approach, a message finally arrived from it. The signal was ancient, complex, and difficult to decode. When it was understood, it chilled everyone who heard it. The message did not threaten. It did not demand surrender. It simply stated that humanity had disturbed a balance that existed long before Earth had life. The fleet's erasure was seen as an error that needed correction. Humanity, according to the message, was now a variable that required adjustment. Earth did not answer right away. Silence returned, but this time it was thoughtful, not restrained. Humanity was facing something it could not scare, something that did not underestimate them. This was not a test of strength alone. It was a test of identity. Would humans respond the same way they always had when pushed, or would they find another path? As the galaxy held its breath and the unknown force waited patiently, humanity prepared for a choice that would define not just its survival, but its place in the universe forever. The galaxy waited for humanity's answer, and the waiting itself became unbearable. The unknown force did not move closer, but it did not retreat either. It remained at the edge of known space, watching. Entire civilizations adjusted their daily lives around that distant presence. Trade slowed. Exploration stopped. Fear spread quietly, without panic, settling deep into the minds of billions. Everyone knew that whatever humanity decided next would shape the future of the galaxy. On Earth, the silence finally broke inside closed chambers. Human leaders, scientists, and historians gathered to decide how to respond. The ancient message from the unknown force was studied again and again. It spoke of balance, of correction, of variables. To humans, it sounded cold and distant, like a machine speaking about living beings. That frightened them more than open hostility. A force that felt no anger could act without hesitation. Humanity understood that fear well. They had once been the same. Humanity decided to speak, not with weapons, but with truth. A message was prepared, not just for the unknown force, but for the entire galaxy. When it was broadcast, it did not show fleets or power. It showed history. Humans shared their past in simple images and words. They showed their early wars, their suffering, their near extinction. They showed how they learned restraint through pain. The message explained why the warning had been sent and why it had been enforced. It was not about dominance. It was about survival. The unknown force listened. Sensors confirmed that it had received the transmission. For a long time, nothing happened. Some believed the message had been ignored. Others feared it had been rejected. Then, slowly, a response came. This time, the signal was clearer. The force acknowledged humanity's history but questioned its actions. Erasing a fleet without negotiation was seen as extreme. Humanity answered again, calmly, explaining that negotiation had been attempted. The warning had been clear. The second attack had been a choice. Humans did not erase life lightly, but they refused to allow repeated threats. The exchange continued over days, then weeks. The galaxy watched in disbelief as humanity engaged in something no one expected. Dialogue. Not submission. Not aggression. Conversation between two powers that could destroy systems. Humanity did not lower its defenses. The system remained locked but ready. At the same time, humans did not escalate. This balance impressed some, confused others. The unknown force began to adjust its position, moving slightly, testing reactions. Humanity responded with patience, not fear. Within the Galactic Council, opinions divided sharply. Some members argued that humanity was risking everything by not striking first. Others believed this was the most human response possible. Humans had always been dangerous not because they attacked quickly, but because they learned, adapted, and chose carefully. Old races began to see humanity differently. Not as reckless destroyers, but as survivors who understood consequences deeply. Then the unknown force made a critical mistake. It attempted to access human networks without permission. The intrusion was subtle, advanced, and precise. Human systems detected it immediately. The response was instant but controlled. The access point was isolated and severed. No counterattack followed. Instead, humanity sent a single line in response. The line was not a threat. It was a boundary. Do not enter our minds. The force withdrew its probes. For the first time, it showed hesitation. That moment changed everything. The galaxy realized that the unknown force was not invincible. It was powerful, but it was also cautious. It was learning, just as humans always did. Humanity had demonstrated something far more dangerous than weapons. Control. The ability to stop without striking back. The unknown force sent another message, shorter than before. It acknowledged the boundary and apologized for the intrusion. Such a word had not been used by it in recorded history. As talks continued, the force revealed fragments of its purpose. It was not an empire. It was not a conqueror. It was a system designed by ancient civilizations to prevent uncontrolled expansion and destruction. Over time, it had lost its creators and continued its task alone. Humanity's action had triggered its attention because it resembled the very behavior it was meant to prevent. Humans listened carefully. They saw a reflection of their own system, built for finality, now standing before them in a different form. The realization was unsettling. Humanity was facing not an enemy, but a mirror. A force created to end threats had become a threat itself. The conversation slowed, becoming careful and thoughtful. Humanity proposed something new. Not alliance. Not submission. Cooperation. A shared responsibility to prevent destruction without erasing entire civilizations. The idea challenged the unknown force's core logic. It did not reject it. It asked for time. As the unknown presence held position and the galaxy exhaled slowly, humanity understood the weight of what it had done. They had stepped into a role no one had asked for, not through conquest, but through restraint. The warning had been mocked. The response had been feared. Now, humanity stood between the galaxy and a power older than memory, armed not just with a weapon, but with the hard-earned understanding of when not to use it. Time passed in a way that felt slow to the galaxy and fast to humanity. The unknown force did not answer immediately. Its silence stretched across weeks, then months. During that time, the galaxy remained frozen in careful stillness. No one wanted to be the next mistake. Humanity continued to observe without pressing for a reply. They had learned that forcing an answer often created the worst outcomes. The system remained locked, watched over by layers of law and human conscience. Humanity hoped it would never be needed again. Without warning, the unknown force finally moved. Not toward Earth, but toward a distant border region claimed by an ancient and powerful race. This race had ruled its territory for thousands of years and believed itself untouchable. It saw the unknown force's approach as an insult. Without consulting the Galactic Council or humanity, it launched an attack. Massive weapons fired across the void, lighting up space in violent flashes. The galaxy watched in shock as a war began where none was expected. The unknown force responded instantly. The attacking fleet did not vanish completely, but it was broken with terrifying efficiency. Ships lost power. Command links failed. Entire formations froze in space, alive but helpless. The ancient race had expected resistance, not restraint. This was not destruction. It was control. Within hours, the proud empire was forced to surrender publicly. The galaxy understood the message clearly. The unknown force did not act out of anger. It acted to enforce order as it defined it. Humanity watched closely. This was the test they had feared. The unknown force had chosen demonstration over dialogue. Earth sent a message immediately, asking why negotiation had not been attempted. The response came quickly. The ancient race's attack was classified as an imbalance that required immediate correction. Humanity replied that correction without understanding only delayed conflict. The exchange was tense but controlled. The force did not dismiss the argument. It acknowledged it, even if it did not fully accept it. Within the Galactic Council, panic returned. If the unknown force could disable an ancient empire in hours, no one was safe. Many turned to Earth again, not with fear this time, but with expectation. Humanity had faced this force and survived. Humanity had spoken to it as an equal. Now, the galaxy looked to humans for leadership they had never claimed. Earth's leaders felt the pressure deeply. Accepting that role meant endless responsibility. Refusing it meant chaos. Humanity chose a middle path. They did not declare themselves protectors. Instead, they proposed a gathering. A council beyond the Galactic Council. One that included humanity, the unknown force, and representatives from every major civilization. The goal was simple. Create shared rules for intervention. No single power would act alone again. The proposal was sent carefully, without threat. To the surprise of many, the unknown force agreed to attend. It stated that shared governance might reduce long-term correction events. The gathering took place in neutral space. No fleets arrived. No weapons were displayed. The unknown force did not appear as a ship, but as a field of controlled energy, calm and precise. Humanity's presence was equally restrained. When discussions began, tension filled the void. Centuries of fear, pride, and history pressed down on every word. Humanity spoke first, not as the strongest, but as the most recent survivor of near extinction. They explained that order imposed without empathy eventually failed. The unknown force listened, processing arguments with cold logic. It challenged humanity repeatedly, questioning emotional decision-making and the inefficiency of mercy. Humanity answered honestly. Mercy was inefficient, but it preserved choice. Choice allowed growth. Erasing threats removed risk, but also removed potential. The galaxy listened, stunned by the depth of the debate. This was not a negotiation of borders or power. It was a debate about the meaning of survival itself. As discussions continued, cracks appeared in the unknown force's certainty. It admitted that over time, its interventions had increased, not decreased conflict. Removing one threat often created another. Humanity's experience mirrored this truth. Their own system had been built for finality, yet its use had attracted greater danger. The parallel could not be ignored. Slowly, the idea of shared restraint took shape. Not absolute peace. Not total control. But limits agreed upon by many, not enforced by one. By the end of the gathering, no final treaty was signed. But something more important had changed. The unknown force agreed to pause all corrective actions unless immediate extinction-level events occurred. In return, humanity agreed to keep its system locked and unused except under the same conditions. The galaxy felt a cautious relief. The future was still uncertain, but it was no longer controlled by a single silent judge. As humanity returned to watchful silence and the unknown force withdrew slightly, one truth became clear. The greatest battle had not been fought with weapons, but with restraint. Humanity had proven that strength was not only the ability to destroy, but the courage to stop. And in doing so, they had reshaped the fate of the galaxy without firing a single shot. After the council with the unknown force, the galaxy entered a new era. Fear did not vanish, but it changed shape. No longer was humanity feared only for its ability to destroy fleets. The galaxy now feared its wisdom, its patience, and its willingness to act only when absolutely necessary. Observers recorded human decisions with fascination. Traders, diplomats, and even spies studied every move carefully. The lesson was clear. Humans were dangerous not because they sought power, but because they understood the consequences of power. On Earth, life continued quietly. Cities thrived. Colonies expanded. People went about their daily routines without knowledge of the negotiations that had just taken place. The system that had erased the alien fleet remained sealed. Human leaders carefully documented every interaction with the unknown force. They prepared for the possibility of future threats, but they refused to escalate. Humanity had learned that restraint could be stronger than action when used wisely. The Galactic Council remained unsettled. Many species demanded access to human council, hoping to understand how humanity had survived forces far stronger than themselves. Humanity responded carefully, offering advice without dominance. They shared lessons in history, strategy, and the importance of understanding threats before responding. They did not tell others what to do. They explained the results of their experience. Slowly, respect replaced fear, though unease lingered. Across the galaxy, the defeated empire tried to rebuild. Its leaders had survived, but were humbled. They sent envoys to Earth, not as conquerors, but as students. They admitted their mistakes openly. The lessons humans had taught without speech or action now had a voice. The Empire sought guidance on rebuilding while avoiding mistakes that could bring humanity's attention again. Earth responded with measured advice, emphasizing preparation and unity. The Empire listened and learned, understanding that humanity's true strength was not weapons, but foresight. The unknown force remained at the edge of human space. It did not move closer, but it did not retreat entirely. Sensors detected its presence, subtle but persistent. Humanity watched, ready for any sign of aggression. Yet no attack came. The force seemed to recognize that humans were not reckless. They would not overreact, but neither would they hesitate if provoked. In the quiet of space, a balance emerged. Humans had not conquered, but they had commanded attention and respect. Smaller civilizations began to change as well. Worlds that had once mocked Earth now sought alliances or trade, hoping to understand humanity's approach to survival. Some attempted communication to gain insight into how humans faced threats beyond comprehension. Humanity responded, offering guidance without arrogance. Their history, filled with struggle and near destruction, became a lesson. The galaxy began to realize that survival depended on knowledge, patience, and restraint, not merely technology or fleets. On Earth, leadership debated constantly. Every decision was weighed with care. Humanity understood that power alone did not guarantee survival. The galaxy had seen their system in action, but they refused to use it lightly again. Decisions were made with foresight. Plans were developed for contingencies that no one else could imagine. Humanity had learned that being feared without wisdom was dangerous, but being feared with wisdom was a responsibility that could shape the future. Meanwhile, trade, diplomacy, and exploration continued. Humans did not interfere in the affairs of other civilizations unnecessarily. Instead, they observed, prepared, and occasionally guided through subtle advice. Diplomats traveled with restraint, scholars shared knowledge selectively, and fleets moved quietly, never boasting or threatening. The galaxy began to see humanity as a stabilizing force, not a conqueror. Even the unknown force seemed to acknowledge that humans had learned lessons it had never anticipated. Years passed. The system that had destroyed the alien fleet remained sealed, unused, a symbol of restraint and responsibility. Humanity had survived the greatest threats the galaxy had thrown at it, not through domination, but through measured action. Stories of human decisions spread across stars. Even those who had opposed Earth once now cited their methods as examples of careful planning and calculated restraint. The galaxy began to adjust, learning to respect lines that humans had drawn, lines that promised survival and order without unnecessary destruction. In quiet moments, Earth's leaders reflected on what had been achieved. The galaxy had learned. Humans had not conquered, but they had ensured that the rules had changed forever. Respect, caution, and understanding had replaced mockery and ignorance. The unknown force continued to drift at the edge of space, observing, as humanity prepared silently for whatever came next. No one doubted that humans were ready, not because they wished for war, but because they understood it. Survival, they realized, was not about fighting the strongest. It was about being wise enough to choose when to fight at all. Humanity had taught the galaxy that lesson, and it would not be forgotten. The galaxy slowly returned to a fragile calm, but the memory of what had happened lingered everywhere. Worlds that had once ignored Earth now treated it with cautious respect. Entire civilizations reviewed their strategies and alliances, realizing that survival required more than fleets and weapons. Humanity had not conquered anyone. They had not imposed rulers or claimed territory. Yet the very act of restraint, of choosing when to act and when to wait, had reshaped the balance of power in the galaxy permanently. Humanity had become a standard by which others measured strength. On Earth, life continued as it always had, in quiet routines that concealed extraordinary vigilance. Humans worked, explored, and created, unaware of how closely their actions were being observed across the stars. The system that had erased fleets remained sealed, locked behind laws and safeguards, a reminder of what had been necessary but would never be used lightly again. Humanity had survived the attacks of powerful empires and faced an unknown force older than memory itself. Now they prepared not for revenge or conquest, but for the careful stewardship of their own survival. The Galactic Council adapted to this new reality. Members spoke differently of Earth now, with a mixture of caution, admiration, and fear. They consulted human representatives when making decisions that might affect broader security. Humanity never demanded authority or control. They spoke only when necessary, offering guidance based on experience rather than desire for dominance. Other civilizations began to imitate aspects of human strategy, trying to incorporate foresight, restraint, and planning into their own governance. Humanity had taught by example, not by force. Trade and communication flourished carefully. Humanity engaged with the galaxy, not as rulers but as equals who had survived unimaginable threats. Traders shared goods, scientists exchanged knowledge selectively, and diplomats advised without imposing. Even previously hostile races sought cautious interaction, hoping to understand how humans had turned near destruction into survival without resorting to tyranny. Humanity's example created a subtle but profound shift in the culture of the galaxy. Strength was no longer measured by fleets or weapons alone. Wisdom and restraint had become equally important. The unknown force remained on the outskirts of human-monitored space, neither advancing nor retreating. Its presence was acknowledged and respected. Humanity maintained watchfulness, understanding that the force had not disappeared, only observed. Lessons learned from the past encounters influenced every decision. Humanity recognized that survival required patience, understanding, and careful control of power. They would not strike first. They would not escalate unnecessarily. Yet they were ready, prepared for any challenge, calm in the knowledge that restraint could be the most powerful weapon of all. Across the galaxy, smaller civilizations flourished under the subtle influence of humanity. Worlds that had once been victims of aggression were now safer, not because humans had intervened directly, but because the galaxy had learned to respect the line that humans had drawn. Traders moved with new caution. Empires weighed decisions with longer-term consequences in mind. Even the most aggressive races understood that actions against humans, or the lines humanity defended, could provoke consequences they could not survive. The galaxy had adapted without humans needing to fight again. In human-controlled space, leaders continued to meet regularly, reviewing strategy, technology, and potential threats. They trained fleets and scientists, prepared contingency plans, and studied distant regions of space for anomalies. The system that had destroyed the alien fleet remained sealed, a tool to be used only in the most extreme circumstances. Humanity had learned that the greatest threat was not always from visible enemies, but from misunderstanding, arrogance, and impatience. They now operated with foresight, wisdom, and the memory of what had been required to survive. Stories of humanity's decisions spread slowly but steadily throughout the galaxy. Races told tales of the warning that had been mocked, of the fleet that vanished, and of the calm yet firm way humans had faced the unknown force. These stories were not myths, but lessons. They reminded everyone that survival depended not on pride, conquest, or fear alone, but on understanding consequences, acting with restraint, and knowing when to wait. Humanity had become a model of measured power, a standard for survival that the galaxy could not ignore. Quietly, Earth continued to develop, explore, and advance, ever watchful of the stars. Humans did not seek recognition or glory. They did not celebrate the fear they had inspired. Instead, they prepared. They studied. They learned. Humanity understood that the galaxy was vast, ancient, and unpredictable. The unknown force might return. New threats would emerge. Yet humans remained calm. They had faced destruction, they had faced judgment, and they had survived without losing themselves. They knew what had to be done, and they were ready to act if the need ever arose again. In the final analysis, the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity did not conquer through domination. They survived through restraint. They did not teach fear through aggression, but through careful, measured action. The warning had been given. It had been ignored. Humanity had acted. The galaxy remembered. And as humans looked to the stars, quiet, watchful, and prepared, one truth settled over every civilization. Earth's power was not only in its weapons, but in its wisdom, its patience, and its understanding of the price of survival. Humanity had become not just a force, but a standard, a reminder that survival required more than strength. It required restraint, foresight, and the courage to act only when necessary. And the galaxy would never forget that lesson.